So we're ready to go here. Sean Lang, your host of the Fight League Report. Make sure to go to @FightLeague on Twitter, on Instagram, Fight League Report. Also, make sure to check out @Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast on Instagram, @PW Enforcer on Twitter, and head over to fightleague.com/wrestling and like the Facebook pages for both the Fight League Report and Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast. Only reason I'm on social media, guys, so if you want to help me out, please. That's the only reason why I'm on here, is for my podcast. And make sure to go to fightleague.com/wrestling. Exclusive articles on there. We're doing a weekly dream matches. Our latest one was Deonna Purrazzo versus Sasha Banks. And all my interviews from YouTube are up there as well as exclusive content. So make sure to go to fightleague.com/wrestling. And Jeff Henry joined me here, right here on Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast, doing a special edition of the Royal Rumble 2021 preview. So, Jeff, thanks for joining us here on the show. We appreciate you, man.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for inviting me back. It's been about a year since we've done one of these, like I said earlier. But, yeah, man, ready to make these picks.
Yeah, let's get right into it. And this year in 2021 Royal Rumble, the first match we are talking about, of course, is the Tag Team Championship, Asuka and Charlotte Flair versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax.
For this one right here, if I had to make a pick, I would probably, man, I don't know. Who do you like?
Back at TLC, Asuka and Charlotte Flair defeated Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. It was Charlotte Flair who came on as a special guest mystery tag team partner. And she made her return in WWE TV. It had been about 6 to 8 months. It would have been a while. It had been like about 6, 7 months she'd been on WWE. So they got it done.
Isn't she the Raw Women's Champion?
Asuka is.
Oh, Asuka is. Okay.
Yeah, now they both won the Women's Championship, the Tag Team Championship. Yeah, I think that Charlotte Flair's got a lot on her mind because she got Ric Flair going after her nemesis, Lacey Evans. I don't know if you know about that whole storyline. And so she's got that in the back of her head. I think that Baszler and Jax, they were good as champions. I thought they were going to have a feud with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. But we'll see if they get involved as well. But I think that we're going to have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler winning back the titles. I think they're going to try to create a feud between Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair, and Asuka, she'll have her hands full with whoever the winner of the WrestleMania. Oh, actually, whoever the winner of Royal Rumble, who should be facing at WrestleMania, which could be Shayna Baszler. I think Shayna Baszler is a top pick if they're going to be in both matches, because I know that Charlotte says she's going to be in both the Royal Rumble and this tag team bout. I believe Asuka too. I think it's safe to say Shayna and Nia are going to be in the Rumble as well.
Yeah, I think I would probably lean more Nia Jax to Shayna Baszler in that sense, just kind of knowing the background to them.
True, and I just think that we'll see who wins the Royal Rumble, but I think that's just going to open up for a feud where Charlotte takes on Asuka, and then maybe Lacey Evans interferes. It costs her the belt. That's ahead of WrestleMania, and then we'll see who their opponents are for WrestleMania.
No, definitely.
I know. And Becky Lynch, is still out of the game with her pregnancy, but we got to wonder when she's going to come back as well.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be crazy if AJ Lee showed up?
Yeah, I would think it was, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Anything could happen, man.
That's true. So yeah, my pick is Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler to defeat Asuka and Charlotte Flair. I think Lacey Evans and Ric Flair are going to interfere somehow, costing Charlotte the tag team match and possibly starting a feud with Asuka.
Makes sense.
Next up, we have the Universal Championship, Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens in a last man standing match. This has been a fun rivalry. When we see Kevin Owens, get involved. Jimmy Uso is now aligned himself with Roman Reigns. And what do you think of Roman as the heel, man? Have you gotten a chance to see him work as a heel?
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. And I think this is going to be a great match. Like I said to you earlier off air, I told you earlier that I don't really stay up a whole lot for pay-per-views anymore. This is one that I have a few matches I'm looking at that are just like, I got to stay up and watch this. But yeah, I think they're going to put on a hell of a show tomorrow. I think Roman Reigns comes out on top, the victor, and takes the Universal Championship on to WrestleMania.
I do as well. I think I got Roman Reigns winning this title as well. We got to see who would he be taking on. Who is going to be the winner of this year's Royal Rumble. It could be a number of opponents. I've heard Daniel Bryan might be a possible opportunity as well, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's going to be a fun one to talk about when we get to that one. I have a few theories about who I believe might win and maybe some potential storylines going into it. Let's go to the next one. This is big, man. Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg.
Yeah, this was when Goldberg showed up on a Legends Night. We didn't really quite expect this. Now he's back to take on Drew McIntyre. It's been a while since Goldberg's been in a WWE ring. I think his last time was at the Crown Jewel, was it, or Stadium Showdown?
Yeah, where he had the worst match in the history of matches. On Undertaker.
I know.
And that was their careers, dude. See, Goldberg kind of has that same stigma as the Undertaker, man. These guys stick around way too long.
True.
And then they end up becoming shells themselves. You know, Goldberg is that same situation, goes along with him. You know?
Yeah.
I think McIntyre beats him. I think McIntyre beats him clean.
This is the only title that Goldberg has never held. He's a two-time champion, defeating Kevin Owens and Bray Wyatt for the Universal title twice, but he has never won the WWE Championship. That's, of course, the most premier championship over the Raw Championship. So the question is, does he get it done? And he's held the big gold belt before, and he's held both the Universal title. So this is the only title he hasn't won.
As a primarily, big star and, the WCW has made, have one of them ever won the championship, the WWE Championship?
Goldberg?
Probably the Giant. Goldberg's never won the WWE title.
No, he's never. Yeah, he's never held that belt.
I'm talking about strictly WWE title. The Giant, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Mysterio. There's few people who can do. I mean, he could easily win it, but I think McIntyre has the rocket ship strapped to his back. I think McIntyre's going in to defend his championship against the winner of the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, they said there's not a lot of interest in this match. McIntyre was out 2 weeks due to COVID-19, but there was a lot of fan resentment when Goldberg showed up originally at the beginning of the month, because fans did not want Goldberg to be taking on Drew McIntyre for the belt. So we'll see.
And I get that too, because like I said, I don't really watch the product much anymore, but I come around for a few shows.
Right.
There was one show where I watched Goldberg fight the Fiend. And Goldberg housed him, and I'm like, that should not have happened. So for Goldberg to come back and to step on these guys' toes, nah, dude, he's gotta lose. He can't win. Yeah,
he beat the Fiend last year for the belt, and went into WrestleMania as the champion before he lost it to Braun Strowman.
But why? Why? What did that do for Goldberg?
I know it didn't do anything for the company either.
It didn't do anything. It just made the Fiend less of a monster.
True.
He cut his nuts off. But whatever.
Well, we got the Women's Royal Rumble match, and there's a lot of wrestlers in this match at this point. So who do you think gets in there? So far, we have Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Bianca Belair, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Peyton Royce, Shayna Baszler will be in it, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Tamina, and more.
Who do I think is going to win this one?
Yeah.
All right, let's play a game here, Sean. Who do you think is going to be the first person who comes out? Who do you think is going to draw number one?
I don't know.
My money's on Mandy Rose.
Really?
Drawing number one.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Shayna Baszler draws number one and goes on and wins the whole thing. You never know.
I mean, it could happen.
And that would just build her character up with more credibility, especially if she wins a tag team match earlier on. We also failed to mention, Sasha Banks is going to be taking on Carmella as well on the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Oh, I saw it. I didn't even see that. To be honest, I know this probably isn't going to be a popular opinion, and I know I'm probably going to get shit for this, but women's wrestling doesn't interest me that much. I mean, I think it's great that they're there, and that the brand, the opportunities that these girls have gotten, I think is amazing. But for me, for some reason, I don't know, it just doesn't interest me.
Yeah, it's not as where it used to be 5 years ago when they had a women's revolution and everything like that. Yeah, it's. I think Becky Lynch was kind of the last big star for the woman.
At WrestleMania last year, but she was the last one that was really interesting. I like Charlotte Flair, but other than that, I'm looking at these names. I like Nia Jax too, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Nia. She injures people too much.
But Nia was really, really sweet to me.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. I'm just talking about wrestling-wise. I'm going to go with Sasha Banks on this one. Obviously, I think she's really stepped up her game to be the champion, and I don't think Carmella would make a good champion at this point. I think it's Sasha Banks.
Yeah, I think it's too early. Sasha too. I like Sasha.
Definitely. And so for the women's Royal Rumble match, who do you have winning?
I said I'm really indifferent, man. Let's see here. Is Rhea Ripley in it?
Yeah, she will. I think she will be. She hasn't officially announced, but I mean, I guess.
I'm gonna take Ripley. If she's in it, I'm taking Rhea Ripley. But if she's not, I'm taking Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, I could see either of them winning. I'm actually gonna go with Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, but she was supposed to win it last year, and I had her in one of these drawings, and she came out, and I thought she was going to win it, and she let me down. So I'm not a
I hear you.
fan.
Bianca Belair is what a lot of people are picking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and people are thinking that it's going to be Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair, so she won't be number one contender, but that could always change. But I know a lot of people are strongly picking Bianca Belair to win this title.
Now, is Bianca Belair, is she the one that was from Chicago?
No, I don't think originally she's from Chicago.
I thought she was one of the girls you knew.
No. The one I know that's from Chicago is the one that signed with NXT recently.
Gotcha.
Her name in NXT is Corinne Jade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Peyton Royce too, but I don't know. I have no idea what these storylines. So I'll say I'll go with Charlotte Flair.
Okay. Well, I'm going with Shayna Baszler. I think she gets it done. Charlotte Flair won it last year, and so I don't see her winning it twice in a row, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Austin did it.
True, but I just don't see the point of Charlotte winning it twice. I think she's going to take on Lacey Evans at WrestleMania one-on-one.
All right.
I think they're doing a 2-night WrestleMania, so I think they're going to load up on women's matches. They're going to have like 4 women's matches total, or maybe 6 total, 3 on each night. Because you have both you have both women's championships. You've got the tag team championship, and so then I think they're gonna have like 4 or 5 women's matches this year.
Serious question. So is WrestleMania always going to be 2 days from here on out?
No, it's only this year, and then the rest of the time it's scheduled for only 1 night.
Okay.
So this year's WrestleMania is scheduled for 2 nights in Tampa Bay, and I think that reason why is so they can have like people come in for both nights that aren't even, like, let's say, like, they'll probably have some same fans for both nights, but they'll have different fans. You know what I mean? One go to one night, one go to the other, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
That way, you don't have them all coming in at once.
But I'd hope that they announced the cards like beforehand. I don't think they did that last year, did they?
No, they didn't. It was kind of like, they didn't really announce it until it was there, but it's scheduled for Sunday, April 10th and Sunday, April 11th, WrestleMania 37 on Raymond James Stadium. So it'll be 2 nights. But the one in Los Angeles is March 28th, and the one in Dallas, I don't have the date right now, but those are single night events.
Okay, cool.
But I think that this year they're keeping this way so that way 2 different sections of fans can come to WrestleMania.
I gotcha.
Okay. That's what I'm thinking. And they said John Cena is going to be appearing at WrestleMania 37 as well.
He is or isn't?
He is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he hasn't been here since WrestleMania 36. So yeah, it says so it's going to be interesting to see this year's WrestleMania.
No.
But let's get back to the Royal Rumble. For the women's, we just went over the women's Rumble match. And who do you think Charlotte eliminates to become the champion, Royal Rumble winner?
Shayna Baszler for a 2nd year in a row.
Okay, we'll see. I think Shayna wins it. I don't know if it would be Charlotte Flair or someone else that she throws over the top rope. We'll have to find out.
I really have no basis on any of this. Like, I don't even know what Charlotte Flair's storyline is. I just like Charlotte out of all these names.
Yeah.
She's the only one that I like.
Well, let's go to the men's Royal Rumble match, and this is featuring a lot of different talent that's on the card so far. We know that Edge has already said that he will be returning in ring again at the Royal Rumble. So how do you feel about that?
I think it's cool. I always like it when old timers come back. I don't really know how I feel. I was thinking about this the other day. I don't know how I feel about Hall of Famers being like major parts of the WWE.
Right.
It's weird. You know what I mean? He's in the Hall of Fame.
True, but that was at a time that we thought he'd never come back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
With the injury and everything. I mean, that's the only reason why he was in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, I know, but still, I kind of find it odd.
Okay. Well, I think Drew McIntyre wins. Not only, I mean, I think Edge has a good chance to win this match. I'm picking him to win this one.
You're picking him to win this Royal Rumble?
Yeah, I am.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take two picks. Kind of like I picked Rhea Ripley earlier to win if she was a surprise guest. First pick, I'm gonna take Daniel Bryan.
That's a strong one.
I think it would be cool. I don't know if you know this or not, but here's a little history. Daniel Bryan, he has spent more time in one Royal Rumble. Like, he spent the most, he has the record for the most time in the Rumble.
Yeah.
And won it. Dude, how cool would it be for him to come in one and run the table?
That's true, man. Well, you got Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, Ali, Jeff Hardy, Cesaro, Otis, Shinsuke Nakamura, Sheamus, AJ Styles, Jey Uso, John Morrison, The Miz, Bobby Lashley, Daniel Bryan, Big E, Randy Orton, all officially for the Royal Rumble this year.
Remember how I said I had two picks? If I have a pick who we know who's in, I'm taking Daniel. If it's a mystery pick, here's who I'm going with. We're going to book this one like the NFL booked the Super Bowl this year. Where is the Super Bowl being played at?
In Tampa.
Where did Tom Brady make his career at?
Boston.
And then he moved to
Tampa.
Don't we know another guy who was from Boston area who lived in Tampa the last 15 years?
Yeah.
What's his name?
John Cena.
So we're going to book this one like the NFL booked the Super Bowl. You're going to have John Cena win the Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre beat Goldberg. We're going to have Cena McIntyre in Tampa Bay in front of his hometown. It's basically his hometown. In front of his hometown, fighting for the record-breaking WWE, because he beat 16, or he beat Flair's record if he wins this one.
That's true. I don't see it happening, but also to note that this Tampa Bay is where Drew McIntyre lives too.
Hey, and listen to this though. You have Cena McIntyre. Here's who I had: Cena McIntyre at WrestleMania. And if McIntyre beats Cena, he will have, in the last year, he would have beaten Goldberg, Cena, Lesnar, and won the title twice, defeating Randy Orton in a brutal rivalry. That would strap the rocket to that kid's back, dude. And then he fought Roman Reigns at the Mania beforehand.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it, but I think it's more likely John Cena will play like a guest starring role at this year's WrestleMania, and I think it's going to be. I honestly think it's Edge, and who would he face? Would he face Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns? I think he would face Drew McIntyre if he were to win the Royal Rumble. I think Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns are going to have a feud. Like, that's the only guy that Roman hasn't really tangled with as a former champion on SmackDown Live. I think that's the match to make this year's WrestleMania. That's a match the fans want. And if he beats Daniel Bryan, then he goes on and takes on The Rock later on at WrestleMania 38.
Yeah.
Or 39 too, because 39 is in Los Angeles, so they want to go the whole Hollywood thing. But I think Roman wins, but I think that Daniel Bryan has more of a chance to win the Royal Rumble and face Roman Reigns than John Cena would have a chance to win the Royal Rumble and take on Drew McIntyre. That's just my opinion.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I think we've seen Cena do this before, man. Show up at Rumbles and win.
I'd love to see Edge get that chance to go to WrestleMania, put on the main event, and come so close to winning the title, but doesn't, and then he calls it his career. Like, think about it. You close out your career with a world title match. Whether you win or lost, you won, man, because that's a huge deal in itself.
Well, but hey, remember this. Edge, the last time when he retired, he was the champ. Does he retire the champ? You know what I mean?
No, he doesn't retire the champion. I don't think
he be the first person in sports history to retire twice as the champion.
I don't think he retires as champion again. I think he almost comes close to winning, but he loses a great match, and he puts over Drew McIntyre. Edge puts over Drew McIntyre. I think that works, and it's a big notch. You talk about Drew McIntyre's legacy. That's a huge notch on his legacy that he defeated a former WWE champion, Edge.
Yeah, dude, but if he had Cena's head on a stake, his resume would look nicer.
I know. I just don't see Cena returning for a match. I think he's going to be part of WrestleMania, but I don't think he does a full match.
And I'm looking at this McIntryre kid. I'm looking at his past WrestleMania matches. He's defeated Lesnar. He fought Reigns the WrestleMania before that.
Yeah. Well, those are huge names. And he beat Roman Reigns, right? Or he lost to Roman Reigns?
He lost to Roman Reigns.
And still,
Roman Reigns
that was a huge moment.
Cancer.
Yeah. And that was a huge moment that he was a part of as well. So I think Drew McIntyre gets the opportunity to be there in front of a limited crowd and raise his hand and have the crowd going crazy. That moment didn't happen last year. Last year, you know what I mean? He didn't have his true WrestleMania moment. I think that happens this year. I think he definitely holds on to the belt for a while.
I do too, man.
And you got to have a guy like Drew. Like, he's just durable. He's got an international appeal. He's just not something that they had in that position before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where the fans are really. I don't even think marks are against Drew McIntyre. Like, you imagine marks like booing Drew McIntyre because they got tired of him? I don't see it happening.
I think so. Like, he doesn't really carry that much star power to me, but like I understand. Like, I kind of understand it. When he was in 3-man band, has there ever been someone that had that silly of a gimmick come back and have this kind of career?
Well, I mean, you could argue that we had Jinder Mahal. He came back from 3-man band.
No, Jinder Mahal didn't headline WrestleMania.
No, I know he didn't. Yeah, I agree, man. I think it's huge. It just shows you the work he put in. It also shows you how expansive professional wrestling is outside of the WWE. You can go out there and elevate your career and come back and make that statement. Like, if Drew McIntyre, if WWE wasn't around, let's say he got let go, if those other promotions were not around that featured, including Impact Wrestling and Evolve and all the other promotions, how would he ever get back to WWE? He needed to have those international promotions to get known again and build himself back up. And this just shows you how expansive pro wrestling is outside of the WWE. We all have to recognize that. Man, that's how he comes back and he makes his career what it is today. If it wasn't for those promotions, he would not have that opportunity.
You think Brody would have done it?
Brody who?
Brody Lee.
Oh, man. I think he was happy in AEW. I don't think that was an eventual goal of his. I think he's older too. So I think he was looking to stay in AEW for the rest of his career. He was a different stage of his career than Drew was.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I don't think you can compare those two.
Gotcha. Well, I just didn't know if there's anybody who's ever done something like that before.
It could be argued like Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
He went out and he came back, even though he is not a WrestleMania headliner or winning championship belts. Yeah, there isn't many that went outside WWE and had that success and then came back better. Those stories are very few and far between,
Oh, yeah, man. No, definitely.
But, I mean, it is possible. I mean, I'm trying to think, I know Mickie James, she came back, but it's not like she had, a great career when she came back. Gail Kim did the same thing. They had success at Impact or TNA, rather, and then they came back. Bobby Lashley, Jeff Hardy. But I think this is probably the most successful story. And those were kind of more aging veterans. Drew did it at a time he was still young. He still was in his 20s when he got let go and was brought back. While the rest of them they came back until they were mid to late 30s. So I think that's the difference.
It's a great story. He's built a Hall of Fame case already.
Yes.
Last year.
Oh yeah, I agree totally with that. And yeah, I think that basically WWE has the talent. I just think their storylines aren't where they need to be. I don't think they're really trying hard. It's gotten pretty bad. Like you said, you don't watch it. You're not really engaged or intrigued by it at all, right?
No, the only reason I'm watching it is because it's the Rumble. I'll watch the Rumble. I'll watch Mania. I'll get stoked. I'll be blaring WWE music on my Alexa all day long Mania day.
Yeah. And
it's just a party. I love WrestleMania, but it's just being an adult kind of caught up to me, honestly, where it's I got to work at 5:30 every morning, so I got to be at 9, and I live on the Eastern time, so Raw doesn't start here until 8 or 9 o'clock.
Right.
Dude, I can't stay up. 3 hours watching that stuff. You know what I mean?
I
But I
hear
do about it. I read about it all the time. I mean, I follow it online. And another thing I wanted to touch on real quick, Sean, what do you think would be a great WrestleMania moment, Royal Rumble moment tomorrow?
I don't know. I mean, there's quite a possibility of different moments that would be huge. I think whoever wins that Rumble, getting their hand raised is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever that is, and if it is Edge, I think that's just a huge moment to say that he came back at last year's WrestleMania, and then he won this year's WrestleMania, and he basically came back again after being out for all that time.
Yeah.
Being out, like, what was it, 6 months, 7 months? So that would be huge. Daniel Bryan, of course, the Yes Movement, turning face again and getting. I'm not sure where Daniel Bryan is. I think he is face again, rather. But just, if he could bring that Yes Movement back somehow, it may not be as great as the original, but just like, him winning the Royal Rumble would be huge. I mean, there's just a number of them. Like, the Royal Rumble changes everything. Like, AJ Styles. AJ Styles has never won a Royal Rumble as well. So, and obviously he would get to gloat into every other superstar's face that he's the man moving forward. So, I mean, it's a career-changing thing to win that Royal Rumble.
Yeah, no, you're right. Dude, a moment that I think we all need, though, a moment that I want. I would love to see Mark Henry and Ryback in the ring tomorrow, face-to-face.
Yeah, we already heard about them personally, yeah.
Have you been following the story about
what
happened last?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Did you see that Ryback's going to sue him? He's looking for slander.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's insane to me.
Just off of Twitter, huh?
It was all work. It was all work. We got work.
I know that Ryback's been getting death threats over the beef he's had with Mark Henry.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know how it started? He said it was fake. He said that championships don't mean anything because they're a fake prop in a scripted environment. So championships don't mean anything.
That's what Ryback said, right?
Yeah. And then Mark Henry came out and said, I won 3 world titles and one of them was a wrestling one. And he said, I don't consider it fake. He was like, and I know, he said he would like slap the taste out of his mouth if he saw him.
Yeah.
Like, I guess there would be an altercation. But can you imagine that we're all worked? It's possible.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, man. I think people are at an all-time high of, like, being offended and shit like that,
Yeah. Oh,
no.
It started about, 10 days ago. So.
That's when he said Mark Henry isn't a good wrestler. What did he say exactly?
Ryback alleged that John Cena did not want to work with Henry on WWE live events because how Henry was in the ring. Ryback claimed he then stepped up to work. He stepped up to work with Cena instead, or to Mark instead. I don't know how this says.
Oh, okay.
Let's all just fucking air it all out here. John Cena didn't want to work with Mark Henry on live events because he believed Mark was the shit. So I stepped up and offered to work with him, which was much harder on me physically, but knew we would get great reactions. So he basically said that Henry was stiff in the ring. And then Ryback also claimed that a WWE producer insulted Henry after there was he was allegedly found sleeping in the girl's position before WrestleMania 29. Wow. He said, I'm also going to say this. Mark Henry was asleep in Gorilla prior to our WrestleMania match. A producer came over to me and said, good luck working that fat piece of shit. Mark didn't want to spend a lot of time coming up with a good match, and we got what we got, facts. And then he said that. Then the big guy made now another one, which was a deleted tweet. He said, if I'm a failure and have beaten him based off of his claims, which makes someone look successful, not in wrestling, he basically called him a failure.
Right.
Henry then came out on Busted Open Radio, and he responded. Ryback said, thank you, I love, and thank you for the love, blah, blah, blah. I can't sit back and let Mark do what he's trying to do and also profit from that show he's a part of. Today is the day for hate and lies, and think it's beyond a low to do that today of all days. That was on Martin Luther King Day.
Right.
He said that to Mark Henry. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
He also claimed that they don't win a heavyweight championship because they're props. He said, here's what Ryback said on Twitter. Thank you for the love and support against Mark Henry. We will see where things stand in the next 10 to 15 years, and it won't be for Mark. It won't be for WWE. Mark has been a paid puppet for a long time, and I will continue to speak out against his WWE's evil ways.
Right.
He signed 50 Sheffield. Says he then tweeted. This is Ryback tweeting at Mark Henry, claiming wrestlers who don't win win an exclamation mark, a heavyweight championship or failures is beyond insulting talent. I believe Mark will issue an apology for his multiple lies, and it's very disappointing to see him in the shape that he is in.
Yeah.
And, oh man, yeah, dude, they just have been having a big war of words.
Wow.
I think you said was getting death threats about it.
Yeah.
Dude, I kind of like Ryback.
As a wrestler or personality?
No, like I like his personality. Like he's just he's just so dumb, dude.
Yeah.
He's just so dumb. He's like the definition of a steroid. He's got that lisp. Yeah, I met the big guy.
You got a picture of him.
Yeah, I met the big guy, but I don't know, man. We'll see. You know that he went out because I listen to his podcast every once in a while. Do you ever listen to him?
I used to. I don't anymore. I got tired of him. I used to listen to it when he had the host Pat Buck.
Yeah, he's in WWE now.
Yeah, so I know Pat Buck's in WWE. He's like a backstage guy. But when he had Pat Buck on, like a few years ago, I listened to it. I haven't listened to it in like 4 years.
Yeah, but he went on and talked about it the other day, and it was hilarious, dude. You could tell that he was really hurt by Mark Henry.
No, he said some bad shit too. So.
Yeah, no, he did.
I mean, it's just a lot of drama. Hopefully, it'll just roll over, man. We don't want, the wrestling community is so tight. Like when Brody Lee passed away, look how all the wrestlers, gathered together and gave their thoughts. I think. Maybe they have their disagreements, but at the end of the day, they love each other. I remember someone saying that,
Yeah, I don't know, man. But hey, I have to go.
Yeah, no worries. No worries, man. I appreciate you being on the podcast, man. Everybody check out Pro Wrestling Enforcer Podcast. Subscribe if you haven't to our podcast channel on Apple Podcasts, Spreaker.com/user/Pro Wrestling Enforcer or /Fight League. And Pro Wrestling Enforcer Podcast, you can check us out at PW Enforcer on Twitter, at Pro Wrestling Enforcer Podcast on Instagram, and fightleague.com/pro wrestling is our homepage as well. So make sure to check on there. Thank you, Jeff, for your Royal Rumble predictions. Going to be a fun one tomorrow night. 4 or 5 hours action-packed of wrestling. We cannot wait.
Thank you, Sean.
Anytime. Take care, brother.
Hey, later, man.